Welcome into module 3. This one is going to be super short. I just need to run you through cycle number 1 in this video and then cycle number 2 in the next. This is more of a framework, a really good resource that you can use as you're running ads. Just a little bit more about the strategy, how we test products in order to find a winner, and what our criteria is. So cycles, this is how I like to think about it. Every 3 days for me is a cycle of some kind, because within 3 days you're able to determine the performance of an ad, even if you are at the minimum budget that we ever run of $20 per day. As you'll see shortly, as you go into higher budgets, $100, $200 a day, you can actually make a full decision on what's going on even quicker than that because it's spending more money. So the first 3 days, let's jump in and talk about this. Again, like you already know, you're gonna launch about 5 ad groups running at $20 per day or higher. Again, that's just a pretty standard budget, standard test. If you wanna do more, be my guest. If you wanna do less, I wouldn't do less than 3 or 4. I don't think that'd be very effective. And again, anything with 0 sales on the 3rd day after it's spent, so it's spent $55 to $60, you're pretty deep into that 3rd day. You know, if you launch it on Monday, let's say it spends 20 bucks on Monday, 20 on Wednesday or on Tuesday, and then through Wednesday you could kill it towards the end of the day. If you're at that 3rd day and it has 0 sales, anything with 0 sales, kill it. Okay. Anything with 1 sale, we're going to let it run for another day or another day and a half, hoping that it gets 2 sales. If it does not get another sale, so a total of 2 or more, you're going to kill it. If it does, then you just apply that same ad into what this rule is, which is anything with multiple sales, we're going to duplicate it. And we'll talk about that here on this next slide. So when something has multiple sales, that lets us know that it's working to some degree. Doesn't mean it's profitable, but it's working. 1 sale can be what I like to call a lucky sale or a random sale. It could have just happened. It doesn't really mean much. You need a minimum of 2 data points to make a decision. So if I have a couple ads with 1 and I have another ad group that has 3 and 1 with 4, that's a good indication that, hey, there's a little bit of movement here. There's activity. That's what we're looking for. So if I see something with multiple sales, my first priority is to get a higher budget ad working, which means I'm launching a new ad group, which is usually a duplicate of what is working. I also want to test a few more audiences. This one doesn't just mean testing any audience, because remember, these original 5 that we're launching are pretty all over the place. Maybe it's, one of them is TikTok's recommended audiences. One of them has, something very general. Another one's more specific. And it's just anything you can think of. However, when things are working, now you want to test more audiences that relate in some way to that one audience that was working inside that ad group. Or if you have multiple ad groups that are getting multiple sales, then inside those ad groups. So just keep that in mind. We're going to test more audiences. To be very specific here, the way that we're testing more audiences, you're going to duplicate that ad group that's working. You're not going to raise the budget on that one. The only thing you're going to do is change the audience and then subsequently the name of the ad group as well, just so you can know what's going on. Okay. Also, I want to start slowly taking notes over time of which videos are performing the best. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm doing anything with that information. I just want to see it, because usually you'll notice a theme. Hey, these 2 videos are clearly outperforming everything else. Not only are they spending most of the budget, but they're getting a decent cost per purchase, whereas some of these other ones might just spend money and not get sales. So oftentimes if your ad group isn't working well, profitably, it might actually just be the ads underneath it. Those videos could be spending money and not getting sales. Again, the goal is to move in the direction of what's working. The same rules apply with any new ads you launch. Again, so if you're moving from, $20 a day to $50, you can kill that ad within 2 days if it has no sales. So again, getting higher budget ads working. If something has 3 sales, I'm going to duplicate it and raise the budget to $50, $75, maybe $100 a day. Well, because it's at a higher budget, now I can act on that data faster, like we just talked about over here. So again, if anything in the first 3 days isn't working at $20 a day, you're going to kill it. But once you're running higher budget stuff, you can kill it quicker. So really more like the end of 2 days if it has no sales. And then again, if it does have multiple sales, you just keep doing it. You keep doing more of what's working. Let me notice what videos are working. Now, I don't like the question of, hey, what should I see? What's normal? What's average? Because it's all over the board. It depends on what you're doing, what your budgets are, the product, 1,000 different things. But I want to give you a picture of what is average in my mind, like what I see most often. Okay, I just want to preface that there is really no average. But I'll typically see out of the 5, let's say you launch 5 ad sets, 2 to 3 are gonna have 0 sales. That's pretty normal. Those are the ones we're turning off, which is, I'd like for them to have sales, but it's good from a budget perspective because now you can kind of turn those off. You get rid of like half your ad spend, sometimes even more. And then, you make it up with one higher budget, and then you launch like 1 or 2 new audiences. So overall you spend a little bit more. 1 to 2 of those are gonna have 1 sale, and 1, maybe 2 has more than 1 sale. So it might be 2 or 3 sales on those. That's a pretty average. If something is a good product, you have good ads, everything is good, not great, but just good about it. It's solid, it's a good test, and you did everything right. Usually, 1 or 2 won't do too well. 1 or 2 will have like 1 sale, and the others you're looking for to have multiple, like 2, 3, 4. You usually see 1 or 2 of those like do decently well. It might actually profit right away. It's very frequent that you profit right away on TikTok. I'm just trying to set you up with this framework so that, as you plug in the right product, it just takes off for you. Okay. Then you're killing a few. Again, like I said, you're launching a couple more, so your ad's going to go down from 100 to probably like 50 because you turn stuff off. Then it'll probably go back up to like 150, maybe 200 if you're launching a bunch of new audiences and at least 1 higher budget test. So you're kind of pulling back in some ways, but then now you're spending more towards what's working, which makes logical sense. So we're just kind of following that process. And again, if nothing gets any sales at all, out of all the ads you launch, all the ad groups, if you launch 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 of them, if nothing gets any sales within 3 days, again, you follow the simple rule back up here of we are turning off anything with 0 sales at the end of that 3rd day. And again, if you're running like higher budget ads, let's say you're selling a product for $120 and you're running a $50 a day ad, you could do that within 2 days. You're past that rule. But if nothing gets any sales at all, we move on to cycle number 2. And cycle number 2, we're going to talk about in this next video, but that is where I make the decision, am I moving forward with this product or not? There's another 3-day period. So this first period, 3 days, either it's none of it's working and then we're going to cycle number 2. If it is working, cool, then we continue to do all of these things, right? But if it's not, if nothing worked, or 5 of them got no sale and your 6th ad group got 1 sale, I'd probably be moving to cycle number 2. So jump into the next video, I'll walk you through that, and then we'll just keep going.